You're watching the 2022 Momentum Medical Scheme Tankwa Trek, presented by Biogen. There was an air of heightened anticipation in the Koa-Bokkeveld as riders arrived at Kaleo Guest Farm to register for the 2022 edition of one of the most popular stage races on the calendar.
Oh man, walking through the village, arriving in the parking lot, seeing the flags, everything, what an excitement, eh? Been waiting 2 years for Tankwa and finally it's here. Yeah, look, we renewed, I think it was in 2019, an extended 3-year contract with them, and it was such an exciting time then to renew the contract. We started in 2020. COVID got us 2 events down, but so happy to be here. So we sponsor the nutrition on course. Before the race, we also have a little village that they can come and top up on their bars and gels and so on for pre-ride. And then as they get to the water points, we've got some nice bars and snacks and carbogen en route for them. And then as they get to the finish line, they're going to have electrolyte cans as well as some nice recovergen for them just to replenish those electrolytes and glycogen replenishment so they can just push through to the next day.
In spite of travel restrictions in certain parts of the globe, a world-class field had entered, including the world champion who arrived by helicopter.
Awesome trip into Tankwa here. Was a bit sketchy with the weather. So first we didn't know if we can really fly, but it was nice, yeah.
Danish champion Simon Andreasen and his partner South African champion Alan Hatherley. Schurter teamed up with fellow Swiss Filippo Colombo as they charged away for the short stage one. First to feel the full force of Mother Nature was the unlucky Jaco Venter. The former Grand Tour rider hit a buck and went down hard. A broken collarbone and a fractured finger put paid to his race very early on. A punchy 29 kilometres was the pipe opener for the 500-odd riders, but an early mechanical scuppered the Cannondale pair's hopes.
Yeah, obviously we had a good tactics and we wanted to be in the front, and we made a good attack, and we actually had a small gap together with Nino and Filippo, and I think the race was pretty much done at that point. And then the next second I hit a stick or like something came in and it went into my derailleur and broke the pulley wheel off, so the chain got jammed and we had to stop and try and fix it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we did everything right today. Unfortunately, not our day. Some bad luck. I think we managed to consolidate fairly well and deal with the situation quite calmly. Still 3 days of racing left. I think we're in a good position, good shape, and looking forward to those 3 days ahead.
Schurter and Colombo of Team Corner Car took the win by 6 seconds from Toyota Specialized, while Roller Faces were the women's winners.
Sure, it was quite a different stage to what we've had before. I recognise parts of it from last year's stage 3 or 4, I think. But yeah, Mariska and I had a good one. We managed to pretty much get away from the first little climb out here. And yeah, it was nice because we were able to just ride our own pace, get back into the flow of things, and yeah, we finished really strong. I think it obviously was quite a fast stage because it was only 30 k's. So yeah, there was parts on the single track where you're really flying, and sometimes there was a tailwind, and then all of a sudden like a whole lot of rocks, or there was a bit of a situation a few times. But luckily it was actually just Mariska and I. I can imagine with the guys it was a lot worse.
It was typical Tankwa terrain, rocky, sandy and engaging single track. A good test of technical skills and power.
Obviously it suits my strengths a lot, like fast, flat, power course, so I was quite enjoying it actually. It was quite fun, the tactical aspect, and yeah, it was a good race. Nino and Filippo drove it hard in the end there, and yeah, I'm glad where we came. It's still close and we minimized the damage.
The Swiss pair showed their undoubted class, winning despite having to deal with a puncture.
It's such a short stage, it's always a bit hectic, but it went really well. Unfortunately I had a leak at the front wheel, and I had quickly to stop and to get some air back in. But yeah, we still managed to get back to the front and winning the race. It's a perfect start into the race, yeah.
It was helter-skelter stuff among the top teams. Corner Card won by 6 seconds from Toyota Specialized. Alex Miller and Connie Lawson of MES Electrical Supplies were third. Live Cycling South Africa's Sarah Hill and Teresa Ralph were second in the women's race.
So the mix is a little bit different. Sam and I haven't had a race this season yet, so we were out the blocks a little bit green, if you can say. And then Sarah and Kim had done a race this season already. So I think they had a little bit of racing in their legs already. So I'm teamed up with Sarah. The band is back together and we know each other really well. So it was nice to have us racing together again.
1 hour 17 minutes was Roller Face's winning time. Ralph and Hill were 5:42 back and Sam Sanders and Kim LaCourt third, 6 seconds further back. 3 Swiss, 2 South Africans and a Namibian made up the impressive men's top 3 on the stage. And Mauritian Kim LaCourt was the only non-homegrown rider on the women's podium. The bulk of the field enjoyed the chance to settle the nerves and familiarise themselves with typical Tankwa terrain and trails. The second morning and a crisp, clear Co-Bokkeveld summer's morning greeted the riders ahead of stage 2.
The vibe in the village is fantastic. Everyone's very helpful, very supportive, very encouraging. It's very lucky to be here. It's far better than being at work in Joburg.
The first of 3 marathon stages demanded careful planning.
I think key today is to obviously just manage your nutrition. I think take it, you'll start easy and then you'll finish strong towards the end. 86 kilometers, 1,900 meters of climbing, so that's the plan.
A simple, solid strategy. And what about the terrain?
It's rocky, it's technical, it's a long day out. Luckily we don't have the heat, but we came prepared for heat. So maybe it'll heat up by Saturday and Sunday. But nothing beats being out there in nature for a full day on your bike with your best partner, and that makes these events such a privilege.
Seconds before the start, Matt Beers discovered his dropper seat post lever battery was flat. Darren Lill tried to help out, but the start was calling and Matt had to make do without a dropper post. Swiss regular Connie Losa had teamed up with young Namibian star Alex Miller.
I mean, my second Tankwa trek, I have good memories coming from 2020 when I did with Tristan. Now this year, I was looking forward to it and being able to ride with Connie and Filippo. It's amazing. It's really awesome for us riders coming from Africa being able to compete with these guys. I'm really looking forward to the next coming days.
Dubbed Witzenberg Whiz, the stage was a big loop around the Witzenberg Valley in the opposite direction to previous years.
It's going to be a bit of a mind shift because usually we just kind of go on autopilot and just follow the trail we normally do. But it's going to be fun. I'm really excited to see how that climb up the mountain is at the back in reverse. So, excited to see the trails and ready to fire it up with Candace again.
The route is the result of creative use of the terrain by a collective of passionate local farmers and trail builders like Ernst van Dijk.
And you start walking it out. Some guys use bikes to ride out the route. I just walk it out up and down and see if it's accessible, if we can ride there. And then either use a bike. I've used a plow and a tractor to plow something. So you just get a spoor there so that you can work from, and then you basically begin with that thing in mind. But you have to work with what you got. You cannot move rocks, you cannot move sand, so you have to choose your weapons and see what one's the best is going to suit you. Any guy that's ridden the Tankwa trek will tell you there's only 2 things. It's either sand or rock. So you haven't got much option, so either way through the sand and around the rocks, that's the way. I think the reverse, there's a nice debate going out with the guys that's ridden it. I think the split is about 60-40, 60 towards the usual 140 with the new one. I think that's a challenge that you have to put yourself. So if things get stale, the guys, we've done this, we're going there now, we're going this way now, we know the route. So you have to have a few surprises up your sleeve and keep them interesting all the time.
The steep, rough and loose wagon trail was rideable for a while, before even the strongest were eventually pushing their bikes.
That was a tough stage. Super loose surface was tricky, a lot of sand pits. But yeah, it was great mountain biking, beautiful landscape. Unfortunately, we didn't have too much time to look around, but what I saw, it was beautiful, yeah. Yeah, at the beginning we just tried to ride as far to the front as possible, but not doing too much work. Then we knew the first big climb, that's going to be important to be at the front. We managed there to actually get a gap together with Giant and Specialized. And from there on, was hard racing.
Candice Lill and Mariska Strauss were in top form as they took an early hold on the women's race. Sarah Hill and partner Teresa Ralph held on to second. Yolanda de Villiers and Charles McFall led the mixed. It was in stark contrast to day one. Traction was tough to find on the steep climbs.
Yesterday I struggled a bit with the speed, but with the XC guys. But yeah, today just managed the effort, and then in the last 20 Ks I actually felt the best. So sort of good signs, I guess, for the next couple of days to come. Pretty stoked that I'm not sure what the time gap to Nina and them is, but I mean, I think we were sort of holding the gap on the flats, which is pretty unreal. I mean, obviously we all look up to a guy like Nino. He's just a world champion, and to be able to rub shoulders with him is so special. So actually just out there enjoying every pedal stroke. So yeah, it's like a
Regardless of which end of the field they were riding, the Momentum Medical Scheme Tankwa Trek presented by Biogen offered riders a challenging, enjoyable 4 days on the bike, which fits seamlessly into the title sponsor's philosophy.
For us, it's health is your wealth, actually, and being involved with something where people have the opportunity to express their health, get healthier, be active, be part of a process, a journey to being a better of themselves is just something that we really proud to be involved with. As a health organisation and as a financial wellness organisation, it's important for us to make sure that people understand how health has such an important part of being well overall, not just the physical side of it, but also the mental side of it. Mental well-being and physical well-being is so important. So being involved in a cycling event like this, one of the premier cycling events, let's be honest, in South Africa, and probably, if you listen to many of the pro athletes that join us at these events, one of the best events in the world. The association of health with Journey to Success, and that's really what's important for us.
Powering to a second success in a row was Team Corner Card, Schurter and Colombo, who returned to Calais after 3 hours and 27 minutes of racing. And it was 2 from 2 for Candice Lill and Mariska Strauss of Roller Faces, as they finished in 4 1/4 hours. Hubert and Buerter was second on the day, and Toyota Specialized third. Roller Faces extended their lead to a shade over half an hour in the women's race. The opportunity to share the ride and race experience with some of the world's top professionals was much appreciated by the amateurs.
Yeah, I mean, it was really special to see the professional people top in the world mingling, walking around, having coffee with people, chatting about, and that really makes it special, I must say. I know you don't get that elsewhere in other races, and it really makes you feel part of this really big and passionate sport we're doing.
After a good night's rest at Calais Guest Farm, Saturday dawned clear and warm. The Queen's Stage beckoned in an event that has become a must-do for so many committed riders.
No, it's a fantastic race. I usually do it training for the Epic with my partner, Andries, and I wouldn't miss it. It's some of the best track in the country, and for that matter in the world probably. Yeah, we're okay. Yesterday was fine. It's tough, very choppy. Today is a much bigger day, so we're just gonna take it nice and steady and see how we go.
Stage 3 is legendary, and the Merino Monster is not to be taken lightly.
Yeah, I think it's a proper climb. I think in terms of mountain biking, it's quite a steep hill. That's for sure. But take it slow and steady. You'll get to the top eventually, and then brace yourself for the downhill. It's going to be lekker.
99 kilometers and 2,200 meters of climbing and some exhilarating descending was on the menu. The harsh, unforgiving terrain caused problems for a few teams, most notable among them second place Botha and Hubert.
Yeah, we punctured just before, I think it was the first or second water point, first water point, and yeah, just sort of chased. But unfortunately it was a bit of a headwind today, so I think that didn't play into our hands. Probably, I don't know if the front teams rolled, but yeah, two solo riders trying to close the gap with big guns like Matt and Nina Schurter, and it was going to be tough. I think we maybe went a bit hard chasing back.
A hard job made all the more difficult. With the Merino Monster looming high above them, the women's leaders, Roller Faces, also had bad luck early on the stage.
Yeah, I had an early kind of mysterious valve leakage, and it happened going down that Guido descent. Mariska was in front of me. She couldn't hear me shouting, so I was left there to try and fix it on my own. I couldn't figure out what was going on, but luckily she managed to get back up. We bombed it and had to keep air in it till we got to the feed zone to change a wheel, which luckily was okay, by which point we were a bit behind, so we had a bit of catching up to do.
Which the high-class pair did in fairly short order. The race was on up front. In the first to send yellow leaders' jerseys, Schurter and Colombo reached the base of the Merino Monster together with Beers and Norkier. The high-quality chase group, led by Wessel Botha, were on the limit. It was a two-team race for the Anderson Transport King of the Mountains prize at the top of the Monster.
We felt really good up the Merino, and then I think halfway up we started to making a gap because we could see the other two are suffering, and then I want to say 10 minutes from the top I shifted and there was no gears and I was stuck in I think the fourth gear from the top, and I couldn't shift, and then we couldn't take the KM, but and then at the top I stopped. Luckily I had a dropper, so I took the dropper's battery and put it in the derailleur, and luckily that worked, otherwise there would have been a lot more problems.
The South African pair set off in hot pursuit down the mountain and eventually regained contact with the Swiss duo.
You know, that's my strength. It doesn't hurt me as much as a climb hurts me as such, so like my relative effort on the flat is quite easy actually. So and I know we have to use that to our advantage, and we just open the Matt Beers Express and then hop on and we just go.
The quartet were well clear of the chasers, and it was the South Africans who took the stage win at Calais ahead of Corner Card. Lillian Strauss rode strongly to regain the lead in the women's race.
So we're all afraid of the monster, and I don't think that fear is ever going to go away, because no matter how many times you climb it, it is always so hard. The heat is something that really zaps the legs, and the first third of that climb is probably the most brutal until you find your rhythm, and then just look up and then look down and carry on running and then look up again and go, okay, we're a little closer.
Having taken the Anderson Transport Queen of the Mountains, Strauss took a fresh bottle and she and Lil headed down at speed. They were able to add over 16 minutes to their overall lead. Beers and Norkier's ride saw them move into second place, 4:53 behind Schurter and Colombo. Roller Faces had a 46-minute advantage over Live Cycling South Africa's Ralph and Hill.
Riding through the valley early in the morning and then looking up to the mountain and thinking to yourself, I'm going to ride my bicycle up to the top where those towers are. It's just insane, and it's just it was an awesome experience.
Highlight of the day. My wife got to the top before I did, and she stopped the whole show and shouted as I came up. It's like, I just want to say my husband arrived. It's his first time not touching a foot. So it was brilliant.
Stage 3 lived up to its billing as the Queen stage. The sense of satisfaction at conquering the Merino Monster was matched by the screams of delight as the riders flew down the descent. Whether it was after 5 hours or 9, crossing the finish line was worthy of celebration, followed by a healthy, hearty meal in the dining area and a recovery drink. The the final morning dawned sunny and clear once again. It was a chance to reflect on what these riders had missed over the last 2 years.
It's been terrible not to be able to ride your bike and go to all the races like before. I think they've done a good job in just starting off from nothing and suddenly doing everything perfect. It's always nice to catch up with your friends at these events, and I think that's why a lot of us do it, because we enjoy seeing everyone around and the camaraderie, and yeah, it's an awesome event.
Yeah, well done to everyone. It's been also just nice to be back in a race village having a good time with a whole bunch of like-minded people. So thank you, and look forward to coming back soon.
Stage 4, lovely Loch Lynn, was 70 kilometres with 1,000 metres of climbing. Cannondale Factory Racing had unfinished business.
I mean, everything is possible. You know, you can have a bad day. You can really, crack on the last day. It's a hard race, so a mechanical can happen, or we can be flying. Like everything can happen. That's one thing I've learned about this race. Like, it's never over till it's really over. Like it's always still open. So yeah, we're excited to give it everything. Hopefully we can keep we're in a good trajectory. Like, we've been 5th, 4th, 3rd, so it's getting better day by day.
The Roller Faces team were laying the foundations for a big year of international racing.
Yes, excellent prep. Tankwa is always one of those races you can't replicate it in training. You can't get a 4 days like this that you actually push yourself so hard and go up crazy mountains and through such rugged terrain. So it's been such a good 4 days to race together, to find our flow together again, and also with the challenges we had technically, just to get on that again, and help each other through when each other's going through tough times.
4 teams emerged on the front of the men's race in Buco, Toyota Specialized, Cannondale and the yellow jerseys of Corner Car.
Yeah, well, it was tough racing from the beginning. Filippo and I worked really well together, but it was tough all the way to the end, and especially today it was almost like a cross-country race. From mid-race it was all out, and we attacked a few times, but it was good racing. Yeah, racing is always different than training, and it's good to have a few training races before the really big races are coming up, especially World Cups that are the most important for me. But it's great to have those races where you can battle against other rivals and see where they are and where they are standing, and how you went through winter. And it was a good race actually to prepare the season. Yeah.
Toyota Specialized improved as the race progressed.
Obviously we had some days that were a bit more of a struggle than we had yesterday, which was fantastic, and that's how stage racing is. You just have to really consolidate on your bad days and average days, and just keep it as consistent as you can, and it pays off in the end. Second, we couldn't be happier.
Hatherley and Andreasen had their best day as they stayed with the Swiss pair. The quartet's cross-country skills shining brightly as they snaked through the rocks. Schroeder and Colombo overcame a minor mechanical to complete a superb 4 days of racing with a 3rd stage win. Hatherley and Andreas had just pipped Boerter and Joubert to take 2nd on the day. High fives and bubbly for the wearers of the first set yellow jerseys. On the trails, it was no-holds-barred racing at its best. Off the bike, it was dust-caked smiles and fist pumps all round. The pink first-to-set women's leaders' jerseys were at no stage under any threat on the final day.
It was good. We just kept our pace and upped it a little bit towards that first little bit of single track and got a break there. And that sandy, flowy single track down again was absolutely amazing. So no, we had a lot of fun, and then just kept it consistent throughout and rode to the finish. And I actually had so much fun racing with Candice again.
A champagne shower for roller faces Strauss and Lil. Hill and Ralph were 2nd on GC for Live Cycling South Africa, and Efficient Insure Infinity Racing 3rd. 5 minutes and 47 seconds was Schurter and Colombo's winning margin over Toyota Specialized. Ibuko Type Dev, driven by Giant, were 12 minutes down, and Cannondale Factory Racing's improvement continued. 2nd on stage 4, they ended 4th overall. The top 3 in the women's race was unchanged throughout. Roller faces of Lil and Strauss storming to victory by just over an hour from Hill and Ralph. A fine ride by Sam Sanders on her way back after a long illness layoff, together with Kim LeCourt. There's no doubt that the 2022 Momentum Medical Scheme Tankwa Trek presented by Biogen was a roaring success. A world champion winner and an all-South African women's team on the top step. A fresh take on familiar stages, brand new trails and of course the iconic Merino Monster. It had it all. A tough, richly rewarding 4 days of mountain biking in a stunning region of the Western Cape, underlining the event's status as one of the very best of its kind anywhere in the world. The finish line was awash with happy, smiling teams and proud supporters. Those medals were hard-earned, richly deserved, and they'll be treasured forever. 2023 will see the 10th edition of the Momentum Medical Scheme Tankwa Trek presented by Biogen. Enter early and get training for the most gratifying 4 days you'll ever have on a bike. You've been watching the 2022 Momentum Medical Scheme Tankwa Trek presented by Biogen.